There was an interface named shape, and you remember the class named GeneralPath that we used earlier to draw shapes and lines and then put them on the screen. Well, it turns out that the GeneralPath class has a method named append, and you can call that method to attach any graphic object implementing the shape interface into the graphics that are already in the GeneralPath object. When you append a geometric object this way, it's just as if you had gone to all the trouble of drawing the object into the GeneralPath one stroke at a time. Now, you can only append objects made from classes that implement the shape interface, but there are lots of them. Objects of all these classes can also be treated as shape objects and appended to the GeneralPath. Now notice that the GeneralPath object itself is also a shape, which means that one GeneralPath can be appended to another, combining them into a single one. You can also use Polygon to draw shapes and have them appended. I know you can't remember this whole list that I'm showing you, but you can find what you're looking for cross-referenced in the standard API documentation on classes and interfaces. To show you how this works, I've put together a program that combines some things into a single GeneralPath object. Now, these are three references to GeneralPath objects. This program builds three GeneralPath objects and stores their addresses in here. Remember, a GeneralPath object is also a shape object, so these three can be combined into one, and that's what this program is all about. The constructor calls the makeParts method to create the three GeneralPath objects. As graphic objects go, these are all very simple. The first and third ones just have two lines, and the one in the middle is made from just one line. All of the rest of the work is done inside the paint method. It displays the overall shapes three different times. At the top of the window, in the first row of figures, it displays the three separate shapes individually. Nothing is combined, but they are displayed this way so you can see how things start out. For the middle row of the display, a new GeneralPath object is constructed. It starts off empty, but it has each of our three existing shapes appended to it. The next thing that happens is the entire thing is moved to the middle of the window and displayed. Notice that the second argument to each of the append calls is false. This means that the figures are not to be attached together. They're just stuck into the GeneralPath object. The bottom diagram is the same as the one in the middle, except the second argument to the append method is always true. What this says is that the beginning of this new diagram being appended should be attached to the ending of the previous diagram. Here are the three drawings. You can see the one at the top is three separate figures. They're not related because, as you recall, the top three are separate GeneralPath objects. However, the one in the middle also shows up as three separate drawings, even though it's inside a single GeneralPath object. They were appended without being attached. In the bottom row, you see the figures attached. This is done by the GeneralPath object adding a straight line from the end of one figure to the beginning of the next. You can see where straight lines were added to hook it all together. Now, if a close path call had been made, the end of the last figure would have been attached back to the beginning of the first. All of this is a bit complicated and can get weird, so you need to plan ahead and figure out exactly what it is you want to do before you start drawing figures. In the next lesson, I combine some curves and lines into a closed geometric shape.